Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Thursday Night Fan Forum. We've arrived. We made it to the final big dance, haven't we? The Boks made it through to face our old foes, All Blacks, in the final. I suppose deep down, it's the final we all really wanted, maybe even scared. But it's the two heavyweights of World Rugby. The Boks are in, the All Blacks are there, flying under the radar apparently, but they're there. Guys, as you can see, we got Daniel, we got Rudes, we got Rion. How you guys doing?
Pumped.
Good.
Yeah.
Good, thanks.
Yeah.
Confident.
Sorry, Rudes.
No, just confident.
Yeah, quiet. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Yeah, well, let's drive straight into like reviewing the semis. The box a little bit tighter than we hoped, hey? I don't know if you guys want to go around and give your views. Obviously conditions played a part. The starters didn't start really, and the bomb squad had to come save the day for us. So Daniel, what are your thoughts on the semi-final?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best way to describe it is that just the boys were flat. We haven't seen that much of a Springbok team with all the caps, all the caliber, and no bite. Just it was really a kind of show of dominance from the English that we haven't seen in a long time, and a will to win that came from them, mixed with maybe a bit of complacency, but also I think what just looked like a lot of tired legs, and people who have been trying to motivate themselves in new and different ways for every single game, and they kind of just didn't have it inside the belly to really rev them up, which led into it and led to a bit of a heist at the end of it, but showed the caliber of what 23 means, and not just the starting 15. So I think there are a lot of the players that are just grateful to actually be in the World Cup final, where everyone was told that if you got it out the quarters, you were in the final straight away, which is, I don't think, a bad thing, to be humbled a little bit before the final.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rudes, I mean, I know probably from your point of view, it was never in doubt, though, was it? Really, you're feeling fine through the whole game.
Actually, not. There was a lot of anxiety and stress. I think over the last 2 weeks, a lot of us have aged probably 20 plus years.
Sure.
So considering the quarterfinal against France, which is arguably one of the greatest rugby games, albeit World Cup games ever, there was a lot of emptying of the tanks. I'm with Daniel on that one. I just think South Africa, with the 23 that Daniel just spoke about, I think there's just a belief and a confidence and a trust in one another that should things pan out the way it did. And I do think the conditions was a leveler in favor of England. So it shifted our game plan to rush through a little bit, in my opinion. But I just think the belief was always there for them. And having Andre Pollard come off the bench and kick that penalty was just spectacular. And we got some welcome relief to be in this position come Saturday.
Yeah, everyone, absolutely. I don't know what you thought as well. I mean, we're hooking Marnie, poor guy, off in the first half. But I mean, as you guys know, I'm a big Marnie fan. Probably Pollard's up there with him now in my books. But amazing decision to make. The right decision. I thought it was the right decision at the time. But how did you feel? How did the game play out for you? How did you see? How did it go?
It was like Daniel said. I think motivation every week is becoming an issue, and it doesn't help that we have no load shedding. So everyone's going very well here. So we can't even fall back on that anymore. Just that the high of the France game was so high to come back up off and go onto a team like England that has been written off, which obviously then gives the English side a bit of a leg up. It was just a perfect storm. And I think this team, if it was 2019, would have lost that game, but they've come through that. They a much better side now. They've been through the wars together, and that bench just came on and saved us. It was such a good way of changing the game, changing the whole scene, and getting, that scrum. It was incredible. And hooking Marnie, like you said, I don't think he would have felt too bad about it. Honestly, that would have been an obvious thing to do, to try and get us out of a half. He wasn't getting us out of a half. He would have recognized that he made a few mistakes. And I'm sure he's happy to be in a team that's playing in the final, even if he's not in the 23, just to be there for one more week to play the big game. I don't think it would affect him too much, and it got us the win. So I'm happy with it. I was very happy with it.
Yeah, totally. It was, But obviously, it's unfortunate, like you say, he does miss the final. It was just very strange to see. He literally went off the boil. He shat the bed. He was kicking out of hand, was poor.
Yeah,
that was, for me, that was very worrying, because when you can see a player crumbling like that, that's why he's not in this 23. There's no.
I'm sure you remember him playing against Leinster last year in Ireland, and that was also a windy, wet game. He played terribly there. I think the Stormers lost against Connacht in Galway before, also terrible weather. I think he needs to learn how to play in the wet. It seems to be a bit of a Achilles heel for him. And again, now it was in the wet. It's a game where you need to get your kicks perfect. You need to get out of your half, and he just did not have the tools to do it for us.
Just probably shows Scotty, like he has a frailty in his technique. People have been calling it out, but it is laid bare under certain conditions, and his place kicking and his general kicking overall. But obviously, it's such a pity, because he adds so much to the game. And Scotty Farrell, how did he go? Apparently, he's put his name back on the lights, the shining lights. Yeah. I mean, he got this wonderful drop goal apparently, but then he also swayed at the ref and cost his team 3 points as well. So, what do you think of Farrell in England? What do you think now for England? Because they came in, they had quite an attitude. They really were full of themselves. That they had self-belief, which they really had to. I mean, you have to believe you're going to win if you're going to win. What do you think for England now? Do you think that they're on the rise, or was it again they didn't score a try again? They still seem to lack certain strengths and attack and play. But what do you think for them?
I think unfortunately, I don't think there's anyone in the English camp that's bigger than him that can really control that. I think we can have. We have a couple big players, maybe not as mouthy. I mean, even Willie can go off on a whim every now and again. But your captain kind of just needs to be the person that puts someone in their place. You can still have. I think Farrell's an amazing leader, and I think people will follow him to an extent. But he's a bit of a shithouse, right? Like, he loves getting on people's nerves, which is not what you need from a captain. Like, Richie McCaw was a serial offender on the rugby pitch, but he wasn't a person that would always piss you off to the extent where you threw punches at him. That wasn't him. He was very diplomatic in the way that he would go about the management on a person-to-person level. And I think you look at the same as Sear, he'll bugger you up on the field, but when it comes to talking to the ref, very level-headed. And I think maybe that's where he lacks as a captain. And as a player, I think he's like, he's up there with the best of them. And it sucks to say as a South African. Obviously, I think he had an incredible game. He dictated it. If he played it on his foot at 10, he should never be playing 12 for England. If he's going to play him at 10, which they did. And he was almost the reason that this English team almost beat the world champions, which was a very likely outcome, and would have been headline news for the next 4 years, and it would have been all because of Farrell. So I don't think we can just discount that. But I think maybe there's just one character missing in that English setup that acts as that captain role, while he can be the big player and the big personality and the a leader that he is.
Yeah, well, this is this is my 2 points. I still truly believe if he wasn't playing, England would have probably might have won the game. I honestly believe Ford is a superior player. And we want to talk about leadership, put Khaleesi and him side by side. I only see one leader that like around and pissing refs off. Like, I don't think that's a leader. I think that's just annoying. Like, so that's again, that's my opinion. But he did step up, so got to give him that. But I still think England are a better team with Ford. Also, just want to say welcome to everyone on the live chat. So you got some comments coming through already. Stephen Vessel Swartz regarding Marnie. Clearly, there is a plan with a 7-1. So if you can only choose one flyer for the World Cup final against New Zealand, and it's between Marnie and Andre, is there really any doubt? For sure. Grant Swart, Marnie LeBook will still win Breakthrough Player of the Year. Yeah, possibly. Matthew Dickinson, England needs Bongi. Yeah, they sure do.
He might have burned some bridges there. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how welcome he is anymore.
Yeah. We'll move on to the other semi-final, guys. There was another one that took place. That was obviously a very comfortable win in the end for New Zealand, right, Rudes? But if you caught it, what you made of that? I thought obviously Argentina was a little bit disappointing, right? We were obviously hoping that they'll give them a stronger game. So if you caught it, what did you make of that? And obviously maybe even, comment on New Zealand's chances. Rudes, my man, can you hear me?
I think.
No, Rudes. I'll pass it on to you, Rian. Did you catch the semi-final? What did you make of it?
I'm mostly disappointed in Argentina. I thought they would have done better than that. We all knew this New Zealand can do that. They've done it to multiple teams this tournament. So I was hoping for Argentina, especially their back row, to step up and just how they beat New Zealand before was just tackle the hell out of them and then defend perfectly and kick well. But at the start of the game, they were trying to run everything. They were trying to do everything not in their 22, but in their half, and they just ran themselves off their feet very early on in the game. So my biggest thing is I was disappointed in Argentina. And then New Zealand, they've got a team that's buzzing. It looks like their scrum is going well now. Their locks are going well. Unless you're Scott Barrett, I mean, that guy might still be a liability. We'll see. And Aaron Smith and I thought Moanga might have been injured, but I see he's in. So everything is looking very nice for them now. They've had a nice hard game against Ireland, a nice cool down against the Pumas, and now another hard game against us. I just hope we can get up for them.
Yeah, Scott, I don't know if you managed to catch that game as well, but if you got comments on the game itself. But we will preview the final. But do you have any comments on the semi?
Yeah, I think to echo what Rian said, a bit disappointed in Argentina that there wasn't just, really they did it in third gear, like the New Zealanders, right? They weren't really tested. The points were kind of pretty regular, and without too much of a sweat. It didn't, 50 points is pretty significant, or almost 50 at least. But I think a lot of the chat I feel like has been they've now seen what they can get to with their win over Ireland, which was as good of a All Black performance that I think we'll ever see under Ian Foster. Like, I'm not sure if they go higher than that. We definitely haven't seen it higher than that. And it's maybe just a question. I don't think we use too much of what we learned from that Argentina game because I don't know how much there is to learn from it. I think we do a lot of the learning from what happened in that Ireland game, and that's the All Blacks we need to beat this weekend. And it's one of those where, our boys have fatigue in their legs because we dragged out our semi-final until the 78th minute and still barely got over the line. And theirs was done by pretty much 2 minutes after the second half whistle blew. So it's tough. I think also, with the draw that we've had, it's been tough, but at the end of the day, no one remembers that in a couple of years' time.
Yeah.
Either the best team or you aren't, and you need to go win. So that's what we're going to need to do. I'm not the best comment.
Yeah. For me, Italy and Argentina, they play with a lot of endeavor and guts and courage, but they are limited teams, right? Let's be honest. They don't have the X factor as such. They take the ball up and it inevitably breaks down because they can't get through. I mean, to get it to another World Cup semi-final, they must be pleased again, So good on them. And that leads us probably into the third and fourth playoff game that no one wants to play or get involved in. A humdinger of a game Friday night, England Argentina. I'm sticking my neck out here. I'm thinking RGs get revenge. I think they're going to be more up for it. I think England's played their final against us and are halfway home already. So I'm calling it now. You heard it first. I think RGs are going to win it. So, Rion, how do you think it's going to go?
Well, if you look at the teams, England have a guy called Theo Dan at 2. I mean, I thought he was just too old to make coffees and old tackle bags. That guy hasn't played once. So they obviously giving everyone the last run except Courtney Laws, who's retiring. I can't believe they haven't given him a run out. So
that's ridiculous.
And Argentina has picked a proper team. So I think Argentina are out to get that third place. They really want it. Maybe it'll get a bit nasty at the end. I think both teams might be a little upset at what happened in the semis. The Argentinians may be embarrassed, and the English just angry at the world for not making it. So I'm hoping either a barbarian style just chuck about and everyone runs in 5 tries, or I'm hoping a bit of a slog and maybe a bit of a Barney on the 50th minute when things get a bit heated. One of those two. Otherwise, no, I don't see it being very entertaining.
Yeah, I agree. Could be anything, right? These games, they are generally loose. If I can remember, they're not as full intensity as other. I remember when we played the All Blacks. I think it was in France. I think we beat them in Cardiff. I think
we won in
2003 or something. I think we beat them.
Yeah. So we should move. We should move on. Start previewing the final, right? It's the big dance. We have made it to the big dance. Teams were announced today. We'll put up the New Zealand team to start and bring you guys back in. I don't want to cut you off there. Yeah. So this is the All Blacks team. I think this is as strong as they can get. I think what they've taken out, can't think of the guy at the front row, Branko, who was playing lately. He's been replaced by Lala. But other than that, full strength, right? I mean, for me, Brazil and Jordy Barrett are so mainstay, key kingpins of this team. The fact that they have made it through to be in the starting lineup gives this team a strong look. Scotty, what do you think? What do you make of this All Black side?
Yeah, I think it's as strong as they come, to be honest. And I think there were maybe a couple question marks coming into the World Cup. Obviously, they came in off the bat of that 35-7, I think it was, defeat to us. And I felt like there were a lot of holes. I think Frizzell brings so much to that forward pack. And he just complements. I mean, Artie is Artie.
Yeah, I agree.
World class.
Yeah.
And Sam Cane is stepping up against Ireland. So all of a sudden, if you take Artie, who was holding together that loose 3, who's now with, because they didn't have Frizzell in that game versus the Springboks before the World Cup, with Frizzell, who ran over us in New Zealand, and Sam Cane, who's in fine form, and kind of really, as the word on the street is, has the support of his team. So I think world class. The only real surprise maybe is Scott Barrett and having Whitelock on the bench, but that's maybe just for impact. And the only. Yeah, I think the only other hole is maybe Roy Guard for Finney Christie. I'd rather have Finney Christie there as a Springbok fan, but I think the game you know, I think to be honest, I think Aaron Smith probably plays 80 minutes. It's his final game as a thing. If it's coming down to the wire, I really don't see them passing the baton to Finley Christie.
Aaron Smith's been on fire, right? Probably his best form. He's been crazy good, and he is also another one that's key because I don't think he was up to his usual standards for a while, and he's found his groove. And when he's got his groove going, that team goes, right. And word of Brazil, I can't remember if it was Papali'i, but I mean, I think what Brazil definitely let Sam Cane and Ardie Surveyor play. They trust that he's doing his job and he's doing the right job and what they need him to do. Well, Papali'i, I think, is a bit loose. I think they're a bit worried about him. They're tailing him and looking over their shoulders what he's up to. But I think with Brazil, it looks like Sam Cane and Surveyor just get down to business, right? And Rian, what's your thoughts? So full strength side. Yeah,
it's time to put the boot on these guys' necks. They all think they're good. We'll show them. No, I'm just kidding. That is a scary side, especially with Retallick back. And like you say, Frizzell back, that makes their pack a lot better than the one we played at Twickenham. I understand why Barrett's on the field to start, because you need to take him off after his first yellow card. And then they've got a great bench. Papali'i is there to tackle and tackle and tackle and tackle. He might not be as devastating a ball carrier as Frizzell, but at the end of the game, when guys like Kwacha and Dion Fourie might be coming on, you want someone who's fresh and who's a very good ball tackler. And then, the front row, the starting one at least, should be able to keep us at bay. That's I think what they want. They just need, the old saying, just need parity, and then their backs can do the thing.
Correct.
But with the weather that's being predicted, it's said to be a very wet game. I don't think we'll see as much running as we've seen before. But these guys, I mean, they can handle the ball in any weather. So it's going to be a tough day. It's going to be tough to beat this team. The backs coming on, Damon McKenzie, Anton Leonard-Brown, they are, world-class, very experienced operators. So there's not really much you can say. We know what we need to do. We need to slow down the ball to Aaron Smith. Then you kind of break their game. It's just a matter of being able to do that. That's the big question.
Yeah, and I'm so fascinated. Well, obviously the conditions are going to be interesting, and I don't know what you guys feel. I feel that suits probably New Zealand. They're far more used to playing in greasier conditions. Like I think of some of those wet games in the Super Rugby, the backs still get going, and they might be more used. That's obviously why we've picked the side we have as well. And also so really interested to see how they come out, because we can't come out cold again like we did against them in Hamilton when we played them, and last week we just can't. We all know 10 points behind with All Blacks is an Everest. So and I think what do you guys have comments before we go into the Springbok side on the ref Barnsley? I mean, I was not surprised that he was elected for this game, but from my eye, he's a ref that probably suits the All Blacks because he lets it flow a bit more. So if they come out fast, I'm a little bit worried that he might get on the All Blacks, and I think he's a bit of an undercover All Black fan, to be fair. So, but what's your guys' comments on Barnsley?
I won't go as far as to say that he's an All Black fan, but I mean, I think, to be honest, like he's probably, I mean, obviously, I think he's deserved it. Like it felt like he was the next, guy to take on the whistle for the final. Ben O'Keefe, obviously being New Zealand, obviously couldn't, and neither could Jaco Paper. I think Luke Pierce is also, I think, run undercover. I think he's actually been pretty decent.
He'll be the next one.
Yeah. I think he's really decent. Also English, obviously, but I'm not mistaken. I think he's on the sidelines. No,
I think he's been called as the fourth official. Like if something goes wrong with Barnes, if he pulls a Piper, it'll be Pierce.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't think there's all too much to chat about with the refs. I think Barnes will do a good job. He's there's not too much. Can't recall too much beef being there with him in any aerial international.
I think go look at who was the ref in 2007 when the All Blacks got knocked out. Was it Mr. Barnes? Who missed that?
Was it?
No, I think it was him.
Well,
All Blacks are very big fans of him.
Yeah, I don't want to get up onto the ref talk. Maybe we can maybe leave it at the end of the show. But I had been calling ref calls dictating games, and there have been controversies, but not on the Springbok side. But I've just kept quiet because I honestly thought we were going to be on the receiving end. So I've just did it happen, but I really thought that at least even France or even England, if one decision either way and we out, right? And yeah, obviously France were not happy with the ref, and neither were England, right? So let's go to some comments before we get to Springbok team. Deerwald, they have 5-3 splits in a sense that they're not concerned about our 7-1. Yeah, that's true. They just keep into their strength. I think they'll keep on laying their running game for sure. I think even the wet, they don't change it up for the wets. New Zealand, I've never noticed them to do that. The World Book show. We've got some cheating comments here from the guys. Yeah, we all know we poisoned the All Blacks, and that's why they lost. Of course, we lifted the trophy. Our very own ways as well. Anyone want to comment on Mwanga's kicking performance? Yeah, I actually wanted to touch on Mwanga. Mwanga,
I gave Mwanga, and I got clickbaited into a 3 out of 10 on last week Friday. So always remember that. But
yeah, but for me, Mwanga's got like this peak cadence about him. Like he can be flat, he can be terrible, or he gets completely over anxious and makes mistakes. But if he's in the sweet spot, he's probably almost the best in the world. But yeah, I think a lot will how he plays as well, how he goes is going to dictate, right, how they go.
He doesn't have a lot of distance on his clearing kicks. I think that's one area where we will be trying to target him a lot. He doesn't kick it as far. So if you kick deep on kickoffs and you force them to exit from their try line, that's where we, I think, are going to try and target them, because Pollard does have a much longer boot. He can hit 50 meters easily, where Mwanga can't. So either we're going to see maybe Geordie Barrett doing exit kicking, especially in that weather, to get out of their 22, or we're going to try and force Mwanga to be the guy kicking the ball out. So I'll be keeping an eye on that to see, like, especially his exit kicks. We want to kick off deep and stop them far back in their half, and then stop them from running it out and giving Mwanga easier clearance.
Yeah, I also think so. It's like, I don't think you would go as far as to gamble a whole game plan on it. But I actually think that Mwanga could be a potential target for South Africa. We saw how we targeted George Ford in the last final, and if you can get to that fly half, and let's face it, Mwanga hasn't showered himself in like the most insane Rugby World Cup, and he didn't have a great semi-final by any means. I actually think that most of the kicking should be given to Geordie. Like, I think his percentages have been higher. Whether it's from distance or not, and he will be kicking, I think, for penalties for the touchline. And I mean, I still remember when in New Zealand he kicked over at least a 45-meter one from almost the corner. To take a W versus us. I think he's cold, and Mwanga has it right. Like, it's there. We all know it. 9 times out of 10, he's going to be there. But maybe a couple looser Mwanga performances could make him a potential target for Peter Stiff. Yeah.
Well, we've lost Roods, and he might have tried to sneak back in, and I might have missed him, and now he's gone again. And I would have really liked him to be here for the Springbok preview, his beloved Springboks. So I think he's gone there because he was having technical issues. So we do apologize, and if he does come back, we'll obviously bring it in. But we can move onto the Springboks. The Springbok team. There it is, boys. I mean, great. I mean, probably not much surprises. yeah, we would think after
Not
what
that
happened in the
surprising.
last.
7-1.
No, it's a 7-1 split. This is crazy. This is
No, this is not a
madness.
surprise. We did it. So Springboks did it when we last thrashed them. This is what obviously what Rassi and Jacques feel is the best way to beat them. I think it's fine. You guys, you think it's you're not on, right?
Well, I just think it's first of all, I think it's hilarious that, like last World Cup, it was just mind-blowing news that that the Springboks had a 6-2 split, and to think that the Springboks haven't had a 6-2 split once in the knockout stages of this tournament, not because it didn't exist, but we went for 5-3 and 7-1. It's just like, what is going on? Like, how many more of these like undercover, thinking out of the box scenarios exist that we can still tap into? But yeah, Rian, let's hear your thoughts before I go.
Just a quick one. If we go to Rian, the 7-1, Villiers Leroux as the back. That's a surprise, possibly. I wasn't expecting. I mean, I know why they put in the tried and tested and the old boys, but I was surprised. I would have still gone with the scrummy with Reiner for somebody. What do you think?
Yeah. If Faf Faf knocked himself out against a RD Sevilla knee once, what if something like that happens again? Are we happy to have Cheslin Colby be the 9 for 40 minutes of the game?
in a wet game against All Blacks under heaps of pressure, that's going to probably go well, right?
So that's a scary part for me. It is an extremely risky YOLO. I'm Jock Nienaber. I'm leaving the day afterwards to go live in Dublin. So here you go. Here's your 7-1. Peace out.
All the best.
It's very, very scary for me. Obviously, there is backups within backups in this team, but the big one for me is Faf de Klerk. If you have any issues at 9 and you put Cheslin at 9 for any period of time over 5 or 10 minutes, you are under so much pressure, because how's his exit kicks going to look? Faf can exit if the pressure's on Pollard too much, So that's the big one for me. I trust the forward pack. We've seen this forward pack turn people into mincemeat all for the last 4 years, actually 8 years almost now. I trust the guys coming on, Jean Klein, Adjes Neyman. I mean, they almost improve the pack when they come on. So I'm happy with that. Kwacha, we all know what he can do, Mr. Battle Stats. It's just that back line. It's great as it is, but if the wrong guy gets hurt, we're in so much shit.
You're absolutely, like, I've been thinking about this all week. Like, this for me is like our perfect wet weather team for the conditions that we are expecting. This is the team, the backline we'll put out there. But if it was dry, I'm being honest, I don't think the All Blacks are overly worried about this team. They know. I think we kind of put our foot down. What we know, what looks like we're going to go back to the tighter game, kicking game, a less expansive game. And I still, because I was there, I still think the best way. I still feel that our best chance to beat All Blacks is to play that way, more expansive game that we did play at Twickenham. But that's not the team we've picked, and it's not going to be the conditions. So for the conditions, this is the right team. This is the 7-1, and so but we just got to hope, because I'm some people are saying it might be dry by 6 o'clock in Paris. We'll see.
I've seen it soaking by 8 o'clock in Paris.
I think it's pretty much certain that's going to be damp anyway, right? So, but I think what you guys, I mean, and the guys in the comments, start giving your predictions, your score predictions as well. How do you guys see this one going? Because bookies have the New Zealand the 2 points favorites at the moment, which is I had New Zealand as 1 point. It was either pick 'em, but I would say New Zealand are the favorites. I reckon it's within 5 points, whoever wins it. But thank goodness Roots isn't here, because I said I was going to pre-warn him not to punch me through the screen when I call that. I just think All Blacks with the B in the bonnet and the form they're showing are just still the best in the world, and this might be a game too far. We'll be up for it. I hope we win, but I'm going to call it by a small New Zealand win. What do you think, Scott C?
I think first of all, going back to the South Africa New Zealand game prior to the World Cup, we had a 7. That was our first 7-1 split. Corbus was on the bench, but he actually came on at the wing. So I'm fairly sure Faf played 80 minutes in that game. It's
he did.
It's very risky and something that, like the Grant Williams injury against Argentina, can happen. These are rugby injuries without any malicious kind of intent towards them, but they can happen. And I think a lot rides on how the coin flips in that way. But I fully believe that Faf's the man for the job at 9. I'm happy for him to be there for 80 minutes, as long as he's playing. I agree, and just I think if Chesney's there, to be honest, I think it's less the kicking that I'm worried about, and more just the distribution. Like I think it's a much more nuanced job than maybe people give it credit for, and the control of the tempo and picking your runs. And Chesney's an incredibly talented player. I just don't know if he has a pass in him. But yeah, predictions. I'll go. It's within, I think, 3 either way. I'm going to go Boks by 2. I think it's going to be a drop goal at the end. I don't know. I don't know if necessarily the drop goal is going to be in like the 78th minute or the 70th minute, but I think there's going to be a drop goal to decide it. And just the calmness of Andre Pollard, I think leaves everyone at a bit of ease. He never looks like missing, and he doesn't look like making any mistakes. Sorry to kind of make this a little bit of a long-winded answer, but I watched Squidge Rugby's kind of analysis of the semi-final, and just the difference between what actually happened between him and Money coming on was we were kicking, and Money was missing his kicks because we were going backwards, and they were actually defensive kicks, where we've now used our cross kicks and our up and unders as a very offensive play, put people under pressure when they're going back, like we did against France. Okay, we'll pin you even further back and now get this one that's just come from the stratosphere. Whereas he couldn't differentiate between a time to like pick his moments, which is literally, I think, Andre Pollard's biggest strength, is knowing when his moments are and when to pick them. And it was pretty boring when he came on. The ball didn't go wide. It was that, but it's kind of exactly what we needed from him, right? So I think from a decision-making point of view, the Springbok team, there are only 4 players in this entire 23 that didn't win the last World Cup, which is crazy. And one in the starting 15. So it's very, very, they go deep, and I think it's clearly favored, know how to get it done.
Yeah. Run. What do you have to say about this big guy?
I hate predictions. I'm terrible at them.
No, you're not. Oh, I troll you on your show. I see your predictions.
My hair is too grey. I cannot handle another week of nearly dying from a game being 1 or 2 points. So I'm going to be a bit ridiculous and say Boks by about 8 or 9 points.
Oh, lovely.
I'd love that.
I want our forwards to come out the way they came out against France or Twickenham or against Scotland, just laser focused on the job. Like you could tell the guys, they don't even know they're in a stadium with people, extreme focus on the match, and just pressure. The amount of pressure they applied to France or to Scotland or even to Ireland when we lost, that's what I want to see. If I see in the first 5 minutes that these guys are accurate, they are destroying the rucks, and they are in the match, I feel like they really can turn the screws on New Zealand. They can. Yeah. We can kick it further, we can kick it deeper, and then just keep them pinned in their 22. To run it out in this weather is very, very hard, even for New Zealand. Yeah. You might do 5 or 6 phases, but that 7th, 8th phase, the knock-on becomes very, very hard to prevent. So if we focused like we were against the other big teams, I think we can do some damage, and I just need us to do that, because I cannot go through another 1-point game.
I will die. Sorry, but I think also what they have, I feel like South Africa in its wing situation differentiated a lot from maybe other wings where like it's you can't give our wings an inch of space, but I do feel quite similarly about the All Black wings. I feel that they, under the loose ball, these 4 wings that are starting in this World Cup final, no one loves a loose ball potentially underneath a high ball more than them. Like, give them an inch and they will make something out of it, right? Like, I don't think it's like I think that high ball is going to be, I think, utilized against us as much as it's going to work for us, and I think we need to watch out, particularly Talea. I just think he's a slippery mongoose.
Yeah, he's a slippery character.
Yeah, you can get out of a.
I don't know how he does it. I love those unorthodox players like him. The ones that you don't think they're going to do something and they do it. He's one of them.
Yeah,
like, He's like he's the backline of like Cocker Smith. Like exactly. Down, guys, like he's there. You know, you're holding on to it. You see it.
So, are you guys, like we say, I think we all kind of got this plan that's how the game's gonna go in our head. Do you think Rassie or Jacques have something up their sleeve that they might show? They might surprise.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because they'll have an idea of something.
Yeah, I think, obviously people were saying how bad the Boks were last week, but that Bok try was a well-worked, thought-out try. Like, people don't give them the Boks credit for that. They only got into 22 once, and they deviated from the traditional bashing up what England thought they were going to do. Soft hands from Dion. That's clever stuff. That's finding a way, outfoxing the opponent. So I making the marks in the 22. So I'll be interested to see when
at Twickenham, I think only one of our tries was a maul try, and like 3 of the other tries were off lineouts where we faked them all and did some kind of move off a lineout. We've got so many lineout variations. The one, like you say, against England was also a lineout variation. There was another one where Dion came around the front, and Danny Kerr just stopped the move. So I think that's one of the areas we didn't really run it that much at Twickenham. Okay, Moody did score, but didn't score. But there was a lot of off turnover and stuff. A lot of our moves are, we need to kick it in the corner, and we have some variation off a line out. So that's what I'm thinking we'll probably see again. Or New Zealand, they will try their best not to have lineouts because they know we've got all these variations.
I think also, like, if we're getting wings, if we're getting tries from the outside field, it's going to come from the pressure internal that's going to squeeze them.
A bomb that drops on the ground.
And then Andre will put it on a dime or just, hands out wide type of thing. Like that's a lot of the time. It's the pressure from the forward pack that gives our outside players the space required. We're not working intricate moves between Dialindi and Creel.
That was my comment earlier. Like, if in those conditions, the New Zealand backline know that's what worries me, because if New Zealand don't feel that they're threatened, they could dominate. And I'm not saying they will, but I don't think they'll be overly worried. That's what I'm like. Will our back three see much of the ball? We don't know, right?
They'll be chasing it, I think.
Does our back three ever see much of the ball though? They.
This is why I'm a Mani fan, and like watching him at Twickenham as well. He's always looking. He's looking for runners like all the time. His first option is to look for someone, and that just keeps the defenders always like, even if it's like a split second of indecision about where the ball's going. But if the guys know, if the guys know we're going to be playing route 1. And this is what, I don't know if you remember the first 20 minutes of Twickenham, we were over the line 4 times, but New Zealand's tenacious defense kept us out, because I was watching. I was like, when we were watching with the guys, and you could see who was getting the ball next every time, and you could see New Zealand knew what was coming. So if we are going to be that predictable, this is what I'm worried about. This is why I'm hoping that we will have some nuance. But if we are going to be predictable, then we're going to be in trouble, because if the All Blacks are 100, focus 105%, which I'm pretty sure they will, because this is also a massive grudge match, right? It's history at stake here. It's last game that we played with the record score. I don't fancy running into New Zealand with the mood they're going to be in. So, like, that's why it's going to. I mean, we're definitely good enough to win it, but we're going to be running into a New Zealand team that's going to do everything to not lose that game. You'll see their attitude. So we have to be on top of our game.
Yeah,
and I haven't been thought about it all week because if I get too tense, I'm starting to think about the game and I go, God, it's going to be crazy. But it's a game that we all wanted, right? I just also wanted to ask sorry, Danny, I want to say something about the run-ins. Like, do you think that this book team is running on low fuel, or do you think this one last game, it's a World Cup final, surely you got to, it doesn't matter what's happened before, you're going to be up for it, right?
Yeah, I the backs I think are completely fine. I think it's Bongi's are the big one, right? And that's I mean, he is already on fumes going into this. I mean, the effort that he's had to put in, both those past the France and England game is immense, and you just can do nothing but salute the man. But I think with the 7-1, I think our last sub might be like a Visa. And then I think Dion will have already been on at flank and then shift to hooker. I think maybe at the 70th or so. With that said, it almost feels wrong to only bring on Visa in the 70th minute. But I do think I have a sense that either that or then Dion will just be the final replacement and he'll be one of the last ones to come on. But I think Bongi will be the last one to come off, and it will be at the very last moment when he really has nothing left in the tank. On the whole, I think like we've gone for two what's it called? 2 locks. So I think Eben will be coming off, Franco will be coming off at about the 50th, 40th. We did it against
BITDEFENDER. What did he do? He never gets replaced.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, there's so much fuel in a 7-1, and so I mean, while they don't have legs, we've got firepower coming back in. So it's just about leaving it all out there and knowing that there's literally, it's a final. Like there's nothing to hold yourself back for. Even if you're injured or if you gas out by the 35th minute, that's actually fine. Do that.
Like thank God we got through. Which I don't sound, obviously maybe at the balance of the game we maybe didn't deserve to go through, but we did deserve to go through it as the team, our team, and how we've been playing and all of that. But I just the fact that that was lucky it happened this game, right? Because you know that that's going to refocus them for sure. They're not coming out flat. No, definitely not. It's going to be.
That's one of the things I was happy with the English game. If we had hammered them, there was every chance that we would come into this game thinking, we're big balls. We just have to show up. So it was a nice little wake up call, and hopefully everyone's now trying this week to show again. No, we aren't crap. We are good at our game, and. Yeah, like you say, we've got a lot of gas in a 7-1. Everyone was always like, run the box off their feet, that forward pack, run them off their feet. Yes, run us off our feet. We'll just replace every single person in the pack, and then you have to run them off their feet as well. Yeah. It doesn't really work against a 7-1 split, So that's probably not going to be the thing that helps New Zealand win. I think theirs is going to be Beauden Barrett's kicking and Geordie Barrett's kicking, Moanga's kicking, getting us into our 22 and keeping us there in wet weather. Last week we saw when Owen Farrell did those little cross the field low dinks that skidded on the ground and Aronson was spilling it all over the place. I think they would have taken note of that and said, okay, that's our way in. So I just want our back three to be, Velcro hands all week, practicing catching soap bars and getting us out of our 22.
Yeah. Rugby in our half here. Jeepers. It's wild. It's like we're so happy not to have the ball as long as we're in your half. We really don't mind. But when we're in our half and England just did not let us get out.
Yeah. And what do we say, boys, if we 5 or 7 points down again at 65 minutes? Are we going through the rigor again? Are we gonna come back this time? We're gonna do 3 games in a row in the World Cup final. You feel comfortable the boys the bench is good, makes a difference, right? We're not out of it until we're out of it. We've proven that. Let's not book teams of old where we wouldn't have won those last 2 games at all.
I think I saw a stat that said we've won every second half for the last 2 years. We haven't
Wow.
lost a second half.
Wild.
That's a wild stat, yeah.
Yeah. Even
Yeah.
on Smart, I think the second half was 21 points to
Yeah,
7.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
if we within 7 points at 60 minutes, I'm happy. I think we make it.
Yeah. There's so much confidence now in like it felt like France was Everest and we got taken straight back up to Everest again with England. Somehow we made it into a more difficult game to win. Mentally, it felt, whereas we could, with the France game, if we lost, it wasn't going to be headline news. It wasn't actually, I felt like maybe there was less pressure as a result of it. And it's funny because I think both the All Blacks in South Africa are secretly wanting to compete for like the underdog status, to be the team who's like, oh, it's going to be a surprise when we beat you, And South Africa, I think, maybe just slipped in there with the performance against England.
Actually, Eric Davison makes a point regarding the All Blacks discipline. That's true. They haven't had great discipline lately for the last couple of years, and that could be something that allows us in the game or gives us the opportunity to win the game, right? And our discipline has been much better, right? Which has been a big turning point for the Boks, actually.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, guys.
I saw. So
yeah, Currie. Yeah, sure.
I saw a couple stats of just average penalties conceded, and I think theirs was average of 7, ours was 6. So pretty even. South Africa, I don't know if we've had a yellow card in the last 2 games. In pretty much most of the
Even got sent off in the quarterfinal, right?
Yeah, he got sent off in the quarter, sorry. But other than
I think that was our first yellow card this World Cup, actually.
Yeah. We were the only one that didn't get a yellow through the pool stages, right? That's also wild.
I think and even that Urban yellow, it wasn't you wouldn't call it a lack of concentration like that Scott Barrett one, right? Like we haven't seen really anyone out of line. I can't think of too many New Zealand ones either, other than that Scott Barrett one. But I somehow think it will stay that way, unless there's maybe some breakaways, like a penalty knock on or a yellow card for purposeful knockdown.
Yeah, something like foul play in the 22 in the red zone. Trying to stop a try.
Yes, I think I remember. I mean, that even that last South Africa All Blacks game, geez, they needed to call more of that. Like I think that's where the pressure is going to come. I think there's going to be a lot of that. I think there's going to be a lot of forward ball and a lot of penalties conceded in like really scrappy situations around the ruck. Like that's going to be calls where I think that's going to be the yellow card, not necessarily the individual offense, but the culmination
of team offense.
Yes, exactly. And then it's whoever it was at that point who made that mistake.
Another thing which I also noticed, the lack of injuries. Like I would have thought there would have been far more injuries by this time of the World Cup, but both teams have kept borrowing marks and Mapimps, but pretty much unscathed, right? Like that's been quite surprising. Or maybe it's not I can't remember other World Cups if there were players missing by the finals, to be honest. But I always think someone's injured, someone's missing. Yeah. And to get through these games unscathed has been quite remarkable as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, we need to. We didn't do the betting segment by our sponsors, Boyles, brought to you by Boyles and myself, which I didn't really want to bring it up actually because after a beautiful 7-week winning run, we've had 2 losing weeks, unfortunately. But we just wanted to bring up some promos that Boyles are running this weekend. So if you guys are interested in making a punt, join BoylesSports. They definitely do have the best rugby markets out there. And then obviously a whole lot of promos that they run. And I do my show on a Friday with Wherever Sports as well. And the guys have got on board boosting the bets that I come up with the show. Both of those won last week. So we had Quinny the cock to score over 95, or strike rate to be over 95%. You get 4 and out, so perfect 200%er. Got the bet in, and we had a nice points treble. But yeah, just put up some promos there if you guys are interested. As you can see, they caught price boost. So what you would normally get at 6, they now offer an 8 for Will Jordan to score 2 tries in the match. Not going to happen. Colby to score a try in the first half was 12, now 13. That's quite good value. But we'll move on to the betting, my punts for the week. As I said, last week's bet was risky. It was a 5-1 at treble. Decided let's just put a unit and a half and go for it. But I've been loving my highest score in second halves. But they've come to a crashing grinding halt after a good start. So Arge, New Zealand obviously won, but Saracens lost to Bath, which was surprising. I thought they'll bounce back. And then our game, well, the bet was out, so the bet lost. But this week, I'm going to go back to basics. I've got 2 units for RG's plus 7 at 1.88. The handicap 7. I think RG's are a good runner to win, so that's my best bet for the weekend. So RG plus 7. If you want the value, take RG's on the money line. If you want to back them. And I got Stormers minus 23 against Scarlets on the weekend. Scarlets they got hammered by the Bulls, obviously. The Stormers side are no mugs, as we know. I think 23 points. I think Stormers should be winning this game by 30-40, to be fair. So minus 20. Stormers only have to win by more than 24 points, basically. So those are the bets for this week. Yeah, let's get back on it. Let's get us back into a winning groove. And if you're following, obviously, good luck. All right, guys. I don't know if we want to discuss anything else.
Just nervous.
Yeah,
the game to start now. I can't handle this anymore.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm surprised that we haven't played them in the final in the last 20 since '95. Obviously, that we finally caught them in the final, 3 apiece. Springboks probably certainly the best Springbok side I can remember since I started watching rugby. All Blacks, not the strongest All Black side since we started rugby. It's all to play for. It's just going to be awesome, right?
World Cup final, neutral ground, no travel fatigue. I mean, it couldn't be better setup.
General fatigue.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a match made in heaven, though. Like,
it
seems weird because we've been on such opposite sides of the draw, and we both, the Boks and New Zealand, were told that they would never make it through the quarters. So it doesn't feel almost as big because neither of them expected to meet in this type of way. Whereas I felt like the last World Cup, that's what everyone said is like Springboks was All Blacks. But now it's here. It's like, I mean, like we get gassed once every 2 years, once or twice a year for the Rugby Championship match. This is a once every, how many years since
28 years.
Crazy. Once every 28 years we can all watch this type of game. Absolutely nuts. Like,
it's bringing back the 95 vibes, isn't it? I mean, obviously we've got the trolls that are obviously but as how old you guys are, but I can remember that almost minute by minute my day. Like leading up to it, where I'll watch so it was a brilliant day, and it's got that feeling again, and even bigger because of obviously the World Cup history now that we've created, for both of us. So,
and for number 4, number 4, so there's so many.
I really thought someone else would have been winning it by now. I can't believe it's still the big boys of World Rugby after all this time. It might not be the richest, the biggest, but we're still the best.
But the thing is, like Ireland, France, I mean, they'll obviously have another run at it, but you just got to feel like, God, because they did have hope, right? They totally had hope. They really believed it was going to be there. And so did I. I was expecting one or the other to be in this final. I think most of us did, right?
Yeah,
and that's what we have to worry about now. If you run, like you said, Scots, you're running into New Zealand that played Ireland. If you're running into them on Saturday, I just hope both teams bring their best games, and it's not going to be a damn squid and someone just shuts the bed again and just comfortable win. But hopefully it's a humdinger, another kick at the end, controversial penalty decision, refs running off the field. Who knows what will happen. But yeah, it's going to be great. And hopefully when we chat in next week, hopefully the books are the champions again. It'll be incredible to have it take them, right? But yeah, guys, thank you so much. Thanks to everyone in the comments as well. So a lot of really great contributions as usual. Seen a mixed bag. Obviously the books, obviously predominantly South African show, but there were some All Black punters out there as well. But everyone out there, yeah, guys, enjoy the game, be safe, and enjoy it. Take it easy, guys. Thank you very much.
Tomorrow's going to wear your green tomorrow, guys. Don't forget, it's going to be epic on Friday.
Yeah.
Not you, Chris. Sorry.
I'm punting or saying All Blacks. We want to wear my Springbok cap, right? I've been saying I said we're going to lose France. Okay, I didn't say we're going to lose to England. I said it would be close, but yeah, I was saying I couldn't bear if we lost to England. We've talked about that, but I would. You wouldn't have seen me this week. I couldn't deal with that. All right, guys, enjoy it, and we'll see you guys soon.
Cheers.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, John.